down from the heavens. Suspended in the turquoise expanse of the Indian Ocean lies a jagged piece of earth unlike anywhere else. From above, it looks like a terminal wound. Streams of deep red clay spill into the blue sea. This is an island that severed its ties with the rest of the planet 88 million years ago. While the rest of the world marched forward, subject to the grand forces of migration and change, this colossal landmass drifted into complete isolation. Here, nature did not just adapt. It locked itself away and evolved by its own rules. Over 90% of the creatures breathing on this soil exist nowhere else on planet Earth. Few places on Earth feel this disconnected from the rest of the natural world. Welcome to Madagascar, the forgotten giant of the Indian Ocean, where evolution took its own path and time seems to have stood still. Right now, our journey begins. To understand the strangeness of this island, we must travel west, to a place where the earth itself has been sharpened into a weapon. This is Chingi de Bemaraha. The name translates from the local tongue as Kuda, the place where one cannot walk barefoot. And if anything, that description does not go far enough. Imagine a vast, labyrinthine forest where the trees have been replaced by solid, razor-sharp limestone. Millions of years ago, this entire region sat deep beneath the ocean. An ancient seabed composed of compacted shells and coral. But as the tectonic plates shifted, the ocean floor was thrust upward, exposed to the elements. Relentless tropical rains and acidic water began to dissolve the softest stone, carving the bedrock into vertical needles. They rise hundreds of feet into the air, like thousands of stone blades thrust toward the sky. One slip here does not mean a fall. It means being sliced to ribbons. The air inside this labyrinth is heavy, suffocating, and trapped. The limestone absorbs the fierce tropical sun, radiating heat that can reach 45 degrees Celsius. It feels like the breath of a furnace. Yet even here, life has found a way. High above the deadly spires, a ghost sits motionless in the heat. This is Deccan's sifaka, a lemur with fur as white as snow and eyes the color of glowing amber. To most animals, this landscape would be unforgiving. But for the sifaka, it is a sanctuary. They spend their lives perched on the very tips of these stone knives. Their leathery footpads are thick, heavily calloused, absorbing the pressure of jagged stone that would slice a human boot in half. They spend hours motionless, watching the world below. It is a striking contrast, soft, fragile life, balanced perfectly on a weapon of pure stone. But the illusion of absolute safety never lasts. Because even in this fortress, safety is never guaranteed. Out from the deep, sunless crevices, a pair of eyes watches from the dark. This is the Fossa, Madagascar's top predator. The Fossa does not need to chase its prey across the spikes. It is a master of the waiting game, a patient ambush hunter. It defies categorization. Looking like a small cougar, but moving with the quiet secrecy of a mongoose. Its claws are semi-retractable, digging into bare rock with perfect grip. But its true evolutionary secret lies in its ankles. The Fossa possesses hyper-flexible ankle joints that can rotate a full 180 degrees. This remarkable adaptation allows it to walk down a vertical cliff face or a tree trunk, completely head first. In total silence, without making a single sound to alert the canopy above. The dynamic here is not about a chaotic chase. It is a psychological standoff. The Fossa waits in the shadows, using its keen sense of smell to track the wind. The Sifaka remains high above, turning its head, wide-eyed, scanning the labyrinth for any sign of movement. It is a silent game of hide and seek, where a single second of distraction means everything. Here, survival is not won by sheer speed. It is won by patience and the ability to become one with the stone. This extreme environmental pressure has forged creatures found nowhere else on Earth. But the stone fortress cannot protect its inhabitants forever. As the dry season intensifies, the heat inside the Tsingy canyons becomes completely unbearable. The scarce water pools evaporate into thin air, leaving behind nothing but parched dust. As conditions grow harsher, the landscape begins to change. The stone spires fade into the background as the environment undergoes a radical transformation. The jagged edges give way to flat, dusty plains. Somehow the earth dries up and cracks under a merciless sun. And here, rising from the shimmering heat waves of the western horizon, stands a completely different cast of characters. Enormous, ancient, and defiant. The guardians of the wasteland. The giant baobabs. These are the grand, silent monuments of the Malagasy wilderness. The Avenue of the Baobabs. Standing like towering pillars from another age, these colossal trees dominate the dry, dust-choked horizon of Morondava. They're not merely plants. They're time capsules. Some of these giants have stood here for over 1,000 years, meaning they were already ancient when Charlemagne ruled Europe, and when the first human footprint was stamped into this island's soil. Local legend says that when the gods created the world, they grew arrogant about the beauty of the baobab. In a fit of divine anger, the gods ripped the trees from the earth and shoved them back into the ground upside down, leaving their twisted roots reaching into the sky. But in the grand design of evolution, this bizarre shape is a remarkable evolutionary solution. For 9 months of the year, the sun beats down relentlessly on this red earth. The soil cracks into a patchwork of dry, broken ground. The rivers shrink into ribbons of hot sand. The surrounding scrublands wither and die. But the baobab endures. Its massive, swollen trunk, wrapped in smooth, pinkish-gray bark, acts as a living, breathing water tower. The wood inside is not dense like oak. It is spongy, porous, and uniquely designed to absorb moisture. During the brief, violent rainy season, the baobab acts like a massive sponge, soaking up and storing over 30,000 gallons of water within its colossal frame. To prevent evaporation under the blistering 40-degree heat, the tree sheds all of its leaves during the dry months. It reduces itself to the bare essentials. It becomes a living reservoir, a vital lifeline that anchors the entire Western ecosystem. Insects bore into its skin for moisture. Birds nest in the hollows of its crown. And humans gather beneath its vast shadow, seeking refuge from the relentless sun. As the afternoon light fades and the sun dips lower, painting the dust clouds in shades of bruised purple and gold, the long, haunting silhouettes of these giants stretch across the savanna. And it is beneath these very shadows that the true enigma of Madagascar takes a human form. Walking along the dusty paths, leading their families and livelihoods, are the people of this isolated land. The Malagasy. If you study the faces of the people passing beneath the baobabs, you will witness a profound anthropological mystery. Madagascar is geographically tethered to Africa. It sits just 250 miles from the coast of Mozambique. Naturally, one would expect its people to share the lineage of the African continent. But history here took an unexpected turn. Over 1,200 years ago, long before Columbus crossed the Atlantic, a group of daring navigators made a journey that is difficult to comprehend even today. They did not launch their boats from the nearby shores of Africa. They came from the other side of the world. From the tropical islands of Southeast Asia, specifically from the vast archipelagos of present-day Indonesia and Malaysia. Imagine the sheer scale of this journey. Traveling over 4,000 miles across the open, violent waters of the Indian Ocean. They had no compasses, no modern charts. They rowed in fragile, narrow outrigger canoes, completely exposed to the howling monsoons and rogue waves. Guided only by the shifting positions of the stars, the ancient pathways of migrating birds, and the movement of the ocean currents. These Austronesian voyagers pushed into the unknown. Against overwhelming odds, they survived the vast ocean. And when their canoes finally scratched against the sands of Madagascar, they found a pristine world that had never seen a human fire. Centuries later, Puchin was Bantu migrants from mainland Africa crossed the channel, bringing with them their own tools, their own strength, and their own gods. Over generations of isolation, these two vastly different worlds collided. Their traditions blended together. They shared blood, language, and spirit. The result is the Malagasy culture, a hybrid civilization shaped by two distant worlds. A society that belongs to everyone, and yet to no one else on Earth. This historical fusion is carved directly into the landscape they created. If you fly over the valleys of the Central Highlands, you will see echoes of Southeast Asia. Brilliant, emerald green rice terraces, stacked neatly like staircases along the steep mountain slopes. They are cultivated with the exact same flooded field techniques, the same hand-woven tools, and the same sacred reverence for rice used in the hills of Bali or Java. It is a piece of the Far East, perfectly preserved in African waters. But the moment your eyes drift away from the green terraces and look toward the dusty plains of the south and west, Africa's influence becomes unmistakable. Here, the air is thick with the sounds of lowing cattle and ringing bells. Massive herds of zebu push through the dust. The zebu, with its distinctive fatty hump and sweeping majestic horns, is the beating heart of Malagasy survival. This animal was carried over from the pastoral tribes of Africa. And on this island, it became something holy. In Madagascar, a man's worth is not measured by the gold in his hand, but by the number of zebu in his herd. The zebu is currency. It is a sacrifice. It is a bridge to the ancestors. Their milk nourishes the young. Their immense strength plows the mud of the Asian rice paddies. And their horns are carved into the very tombstones of the dead. Rice and cattle, the ocean and the earth, Asia and Africa. All of these influences have come together under the ancient, watchful gaze of the baobabs. For generations, this fragile balance allowed humans and wildlife to survive side by side. But the geography of Madagascar is an unstable master. As our journey pushes eastward, leaving the dry plains behind, we hit a massive wall of stone, the Central Mountain Range. These peaks act as a brutal shield, intercepting the heavy, moisture-laden trade winds blowing from the Indian Ocean, trapping the water on the other side. The transition is brutal and sudden. The wide, sun-bleached plains of the baobabs vanish in an instant. The dust clears, replaced by a thick, heavy blanket of emerald green. The rainforests of the East. A rainforest wrapped in mist and fed by constant rain, where the air tastes of moss and wet decay. And as the final, bloody rays of the sun disappear behind the jagged peaks, this wet jungle undergoes a terrifying transformation. The familiar world of daylight dies. The shadows under the canopy begin to breathe, and the boundaries between the living, the dead, and the cursed completely dissolve. Step into the deep green rainforests of eastern Madagascar. This is Ranomafana. Even under the midday sun, this landscape remains wrapped in a near constant fog. A thick blanket of white mist rolls over the mountain peaks, heavy, slow, and suffocating. Here, the air tastes of wet moss, damp bark, and the sharp scent of forest decay. Sunlight does not wash over this jungle. Instead, it breaks into scattered, dramatic beams, piercing the dense canopy in narrow shafts of light. Every leaf is slick with morning moisture. Every branch hosts life adapted in unusual ways. In this misty daylight, your eyes will easily deceive you. Look closely at the trunk of a weathered tree, sitting right in the open path of the sun. At first glance, you see nothing but a dead, dried-up leaf, clinging to a vine broken at the edges and ruined by time. But look closer. A tiny, gold-rimmed eye opens. This is the satanic leaf-tailed gecko, a true masterpiece of daytime deception. A closer look reveals the perfection of its camouflage. Its skin perfectly replicates the veins and textures of a decaying plant. Its tail is literally shaped like a torn, rotting leaf. It does not run. It does not hide in holes. It simply sits out in the open daylight, completely invisible, relying entirely on remaining perfectly still. It is a psychological battle against the predators of the air. A survival strategy based not on strength, but on the art of becoming nothing. Yet, as you follow the paths of light deeper into the dense undergrowth, where the giant ferns block out the sky, you enter the shadow zone of the forest. Inside the hollows of ancient, dying trees, shielded from the bright glare of day, rests one of the most feared animals on the island. The Ai. While it is a creature that loves the dark, its strange world can be understood through the daylight scars it leaves behind on the trees. For generations, this primate has lived under a heavy cloud of human terror. The local people do not look at this animal with curiosity. They look at it with dread. To them, it is an omen of doom. And the source of this ancient fear is frozen in its bizarre anatomy. If you capture a close-up of its hand, you will see one of the strangest adaptations in the animal kingdom. The middle finger of the Ai is wildly elongated, thin, and completely withered. It looks like a skeletal twig attached to a living hand. It moves on a highly flexible joint, allowing it to turn in any direction. Even while resting inside the shadows of a tree trunk during the day, or moving through the dense vines, this finger is its ultimate survival tool. The Ai uses it as a living radar system. It taps on the bark of trees up to 8 times a second and presses its massive, dish-like ears against the wood. It listens for the microscopic echoes bouncing off hidden chambers inside the trunk. It can literally see through solid wood using sound. Once it detects a vibration, it uses its powerful, rodent-like teeth to shred the bark apart like a saw. And then, it inserts that long, skeletal finger into the gap, hooking the hidden grubs with a sharp claw. It is an extraordinarily effective tool, and yet, this incredible adaptation has made the animal a target. In the cultural fabric of Madagascar, there is a deeply respected system of spiritual taboos known as fady. In many rural areas, the fady declares the ai to be a demon. The villagers believe that if this creature points its skeletal middle finger at you, your fate is sealed. You are marked for death, and the only way to protect the village is to destroy the creature. This powerful spiritual tension shows that in Madagascar, the natural world is never just about biology. It is always about the spirit. The connection between the living, the wilderness, and the ancestors is a bond that shapes every day on this island. And to truly understand how deep this bond goes, we must leave the misty forests behind and travel to the sun-drenched hills of the highlands. Here, under the wide, bright blue sky, the Malagasy people gather for their most sacred and shocking celebration. The ritual of Famadihana, the turning of the bones. This is not a dark, hidden ceremony. It takes place in the open air, filled with the heat of the sun and the dust of the earth. Every few years, Nongol families travel from far away to visit the grand stone tombs of their ancestors. They do not come to mourn, they come to party. With brass bands playing loud, energetic music and crowds drinking and laughing. The heavy stone doors of the crypts are pushed open. The bodies of long-dead relatives, wrapped in old burial shrouds, are brought out into the bright daylight. To an outsider, it looks terrifying. But to the Malagasy, it is a moment of genuine joy. They lift the wrapped bodies of their grandfathers and grandmothers onto their shoulders. They dance with them through the crowds. They clean the dust from the cocoons and wrap them in fresh, expensive sheets of raw silk. They talk to the dead. They offer them wine. They introduce them to the newest babies born into the family. In this culture, the dead are not gone. They are simply senior members of the family, holding great influence over the living. But today, this long-standing devotion to the past is crashing into a brutal modern crisis. The ancestors demand that the family survives, and survival requires land. Driven by extreme poverty and an exploding population, the Malagasy people are forced into a desperate battle against their own environment. They practice tavi, slash-and-burn agriculture. In the broad daylight, across the beautiful mountain ridges, the people cut down the unique rainforests and set them ablaze. If you look across Madagascar today via drone, you will not see an untouched Eden. you will see massive columns of thick, gray smoke rising into the bright sky. You will see emerald green hills turning into black, smoking fields of ash. The fire wipes out the trees, destroys the habitat to the lemurs, and kills the root systems that hold the island's soil together. When the heavy tropical rains pour down on these burnt mountains, there is nothing left to hold the earth. The rich red clay is washed away, sliding down the slopes and choking the rivers. The water turns into a thick, muddy red torrent, pouring out from the river mouths into the pristine blue of the Indian Ocean. Now, the grand illusion is shattered. The red rivers visible from space are not a beautiful wonder of nature. They are a tragedy. It is Madagascar's soil being carried out to sea. The very people who crossed the ocean to find a home here are now, out of pure desperation, burning it to the ground. The paradise that evolved in complete isolation for 88 million years is disappearing into smoke in the space of a single human lifetime. The fire is consuming the island's unique life, the trees, and the future. And as the sun shines down through the haze of smoke, it leaves us with a haunting question. Can this extraordinary island survive the pressures of the modern world? Madagascar remains a remarkable world in the middle of the sea. A solitary testament to what happens when nature is left to follow its own path for millions of years. It is a world of razor-sharp stone landscapes, upside-down giants holding the keys to life, and bizarre creatures that challenge everything we know about biology. But as the red rivers continue to flow into the deep blue, we are reminded that even the most isolated paradises are fragile. The fate of this extraordinary island now rests in the delicate balance between human survival and the natural world that evolved here over millions of years. If we do not look closer, if we do not protect this unique life, it may fade into nothing more than myths and memories. Thank you for journeying with us to the very edge of evolution. If you want to uncover more of Earth's greatest biological mysteries and explore some of the world's most extraordinary landscapes, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for Bio Anomalies. Leave a comment below and tell us which strange territory we should explore next. Until the next anomaly, keep questioning the world around you.